Hello, Sarah. Welcome back.
Thank you, Fatboy.
Glad to have you back to tell us what else is popping today.
Well, South Korea is what's popping today, and they're doing something amazing, and they're going to be offering $500 in allowance to reclusive youths to help them leave the house.
Oh my gosh.
Well, this is in order to encourage them to get out of their homes because they're very lonely and they're now secluding themselves. This is actually very sad. Well, and that is a part of a new measure that has been passed by the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family. And yes, the measure also offers education, jobs, and health support. Why don't we have this in Uganda? Why don't we?
So it's $500 monthly.
Monthly.
So why even get a job? That's the job right there.
Exactly.
I mean, to just get $500 to go about and frolic, and I can see why they would want to do that. Aside from the social aspect, really, even from a nation aspect, the birth rate. I think they have the lowest birth rate in the world. Right?
Yes, they do.
Their population is far below replacement, even worse than Japan. So in a generation or two, the country will cease to exist.
Exactly.
So unless young people are getting out there and socializing and making babies, then they're going to have a great big problem, which really puzzles me, because you would think that for a society that produces some of the best soap operas, because Korean soap operas are very popular, K-dramas. And in those K-dramas, typically they feature very touching love stories. But so how come they themselves don't know how to do it?
But I think when it comes to Korean entertainment, I think it's like both on the far, extreme of the spectrum. One side they're very romantic, and then the other side they're very violent, with especially the animes.
Right.
My brother is in love with animes, but I was very traumatized by all the storylines in the ones. I'm like, and you are watching these things, why? It's very intense, it's very violent, it's very depressing.
And of course, now that you mention it, Japan,
and so many people are obsessed with them.
Okay, so anime mainly comes from Japan, but culturally I think they're suffering the same problem as South Korea. They do have a generation of young men who also are locked in their homes and never leave the house.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a product of technology. Because as you know, Japan and Korea, when it comes to the digital world, they've got super fast internet, super fast connectivity, so many entertainment options, online gaming, streaming, this and that, and so people feel less of a need to leave the house. So it could be one of the unintentional side effects of modernity.
Yes.
That young people feel no need to step out of the house. Everything they need
is right there in the house.
In front of them on their computers or their phones. So we here in Africa, we're here trying to chase these guys, trying to catch up with them technologically. Maybe we shouldn't take for granted the life we live today, which is
think we should, and we should
a lot more social and a lot more.
Exactly. Well, it's estimated that about 350,000 people between the age of 19 and 39 in South Korea are considered lonely or isolated, and about 3% of that age group, according to the Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs, says that they're secluded youth and are often from disadvantaged backgrounds, and about 40% began living reclusively while adolescents. Yep. And they do say that they are suffering a lot. It's basically a condition that they say in Japanese called Hikikomori.
Hikikomori.
Yes, thank you. And it roughly translates to pull back. So they're trying to get people out of their houses to socialize. And yet here in Uganda, they're trying to keep us from going outside because people go outside every day.
I know, right?
And we haven't stopped ever since the lockdown was lifted. Even during the lockdown, people were still outside.
Yeah, I remember that. What was that song where they wanted to arrest the artist? I think he was singing about, don't mind the lockdown.
Oh, yes, I remember that. I remember him. He's a northerner.
A very funny song.
Social distancing, or if you want, we'll use sanitizer. That's the song.
That was a banger.
Yeah, it was a banger.
But regarding those measures, I wonder if they'll be helpful, because I think part of the reason why, for example, they're not dating as much or marrying or having kids is because the cost of living is so high, so high. To just rent or even buy a small apartment. I don't know if you've seen these videos of people living in Tokyo. Their apartments look like wardrobes.
Yeah.
Literally,
yeah.
I mean, basically, in the toilet, you can't even move around. It's just like a little box, right?
You just go in one way and you come out that way.
Right? And so you've got your studio apartment with the kitchen down, and above the kitchen sink, you have a bunker bed. You sleep up there. It's crazy. Now, can you even imagine raising a child or even getting married under those circumstances?
Absolutely
not. So
not.
I think for a lot of young people, they just opt not to. Now, if the government is instead going to give people cash, all that's going to do, I believe, is just going to increase the cost of living even more, because now there's more money in circulation.
Yes.
So an apartment that previously would have cost, let's say, $1,000 a month, all the landlords are going to be like, okay, all these kids now have $500 extra, so I'm going to bump up the rent a little bit, and it'll be even more expensive.
Exactly.
So this is one of the problems with these social programs in which they give people cash. It ends up leading to inflation.
Exactly. Well, they also have a relatively high rate of youth unemployment, and that is at 7.2%, and they're also trying to tackle that. But like you said, they'll be trying to solve one problem and then create another problem. So keep South Korea in your prayers tonight. All right.